I just think, this whole Aaron Rodgers situation needs a new football coach. Good game against Atlanta. Think about what Aaron Rodgers was watching this weekend. Mitch Trubisky was awful. 3 interceptions, 110 passing yards, 53% completions, and he won because he has good enough players around him. Think of what Aaron Rodgers is watching in his own division. Matt Stafford had 101 yards, no touchdowns, and a passer rating of 74, but had enough around him to win. And then watching Kirk Cousins last night with 2 superstar wide receivers and can't score a point until the fourth quarter. And Aaron Rodgers is relegated to 3rd place and a half game out of the cellar in his own division. Yes, Aaron Rodgers at times has a right to be frustrated because of the lack of what they put around him. Green Bay's ownership, to me, is the Ouija board of the NFL. Who's really controlling this place? They don't have an owner. That's unique. They fired Ted Thompson, but just moved him down to a different cubicle. That's rare. They needed a new general manager, and instead of looking elsewhere, they hired a guy in the building. That's typical. And Aaron Rodgers apparently has the power to get Mike McCarthy fired, but didn't Aaron Rodgers also say this before the season started?
I think it's pretty clear that players play and coaches coach and personnel people make their decision. That's the way they want it.
A lot of confusion, lack of clarity. The Ouija board. Who's running this? Who's moving things here? There's no owner. Aaron Rodgers has power. No way, he's got no power. I had Winston Moss on, a Packer coach for a long time who just got fired. And, I said, you don't pay for players. You don't pay for stars. But you didn't pay for them even when you weren't paying Aaron Rodgers a fortune. And I'm questioning, is it fair for me to question who's running this place and how you're building it?
Ted Thompson has a draft plan. He has a way of going about his whole draft process. Now you have to question whether that draft process is putting the players on the field that is giving A-Rod and the rest of the Green Bay Packers the best chance to win. Should you have gotten Khalil Mack? Yes.
Yeah. But there is kind of a quality here where I always liked a strong boss. Give me clarity. Okay, who do I have to answer to? What's my assignment? Let's go. And I find with Green Bay, no owner. You fire the GM, but he's still down the hall. You needed a GM. You just elevated a guy. Aaron's got power, none, some, zero. What's their identity? They don't consistently have great defenses. They finally have a running back I like, but they didn't use him enough. What is your offense? It's not clever. You got to create something here. It's not Aaron Rodgers' responsibility to create the direction. His job is to be the quarterback. Pete Carroll, not Russell Wilson, this offseason said, I'm going to hire a new offensive line coach. I'm going to draft another running back. We're going to become a power running team with an upgraded O-line. So Pete created the direction, and Russell Wilson's job is to, okay, that's where we're going. Rally around us, guys. I'll lead us on the field. It's not the quarterback's job to create the direction. Belichick does that, and then it's Tom Brady's job to go out and efficiently, over a 3.5-hour period, deliver on the direction. Joy Taylor with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
Oh, the Patriots just can't handle those Dolphins in December.
I know.
It's a tough place walking into Hard Rock Stadium like that. Well, they lost. Miami Miracle 34-33 in a heartbreaker, and that loss moved the Patriots to 3-4 on the road this season, with the other losses coming against the Lions, Jags, and Titans. And the first 3 were all by double digits, and the fourth was obviously that historical mistake that Bill Belichick teams rarely make. But despite the road record and the brutal loss, Tom Brady is confident they can bounce back.
We lost pretty important games, and I don't know what's the difference between losing by 14 down there, or losing by 50, or losing by 1. They all count the same, and mental toughness is mental toughness. And you realize that, you know, a lot of things had to go right for them to win, and they did. So it's not like I don't think we can win on the road. We've won on the road. We played well on the road. You know, we just got to close the deal.
Yeah, and I didn't recognize that little subtle jab at the Dolphins there right in the end. A lot of things had to go right for them.
No question.
Yeah, they did, Mr. Brady. How do you like that? Anyway, the Patriots travel to Pittsburgh this weekend. They are a 3-point favorite, and this is important. Yes.
So New England is a field goal favorite on the road at Pittsburgh.
Yes. 3-point road favorites.
You know, it is interesting. Somebody said this earlier. It was either Trent or Peter King. May have been Peter King. Let's be honest about Pittsburgh. Le'Veon Bell, you thought you were going to have him, you don't. James Conner is hurt. Pittsburgh has a football problem right now.
Yeah, most certainly.
They're throwing the ball 70% of the time. Like, they have become completely unbalanced. By the way, New England, more than any time I can remember, has their running back situation all set up. So you know New England's going to do what Pittsburgh can't this weekend, run the football.
You know, looking at the Steelers, and the windows that you have to win championships with the Patriots being kind of vulnerable this year, maybe paying Le'Veon wasn't the worst idea. It's kind of looking that way now.
No, I mean,
you couldn't have predicted James Conner getting injured, but
here's what
they're on their third and fourth string running back.
You know what, Joy? I had a source tell me that the thing with Le'Veon Bell was they thought he was too much noise. But the funny thing is, since he's left, they've been noisier than ever.
What does that even mean?
So my point is, the idea that Le'Veon was the problem with all the noise is just simply not true. Ben is the drama king here, and he has been from day. Now, Tomlin adds to it.
I don't even know if it's Ben necessarily. Like, Ben is noisy, but I just think it's just the environment there that Mike Tomlin allows. I'm cool with you letting players be vocal and be personalities, but there's got to be one common thread and goal about speaking out. I mean, when Antonio Brown went live on Facebook, like, could you imagine anyone in the Patriots locker room doing that?
No.
It's just unimaginable. Like, it's that type of stuff has never gone away.
Yeah.
So Le'Veon certainly wasn't the source of that noise. Baker Mayfield is finally delivering wins for Cleveland, and now he would like Browns fans to hold up their end of the deal. He did lead his team to a 26-20 win over the Panthers on Sunday in front of the smallest home crowd so far this year. So he called out Browns fans, asking them to show up for their last home game in 2 weeks.
I'm prideful of playing at home, protecting our own territory. We'd love to have more fan support. Today was cold, I get it, but, you know, having more people, especially got our last home game coming up, we'd love to have more people in the stands, you know, cheering for us, because we feed off that energy. You can tell. It's very obvious. I don't have to say it, how our defense feeds off the energy in the stadium, and being able to start fast and get that going and put teams, you know, in a bind, to put pressure on them.
By the way, people are like, Colin, what about giving credit to Baker Mayfield this weekend? By the way, Lamar Jackson, I didn't talk a ton about Lamar Jackson when he went on a 3-game winning streak. Sam Darnold had a great second half of the Jets. I haven't talked about him yet. And Baker had a nice game. Baker's not the only rookie quarterback that's had good moments this year. Baker has better players than most of the other kids. But it should be noted, Lamar Jackson went 3-0 in his first starts and almost beat Kansas City because he has good people around him. You think I'm anti-Baker. I don't like his nonsense, but I compliment Baker all the time. I'm going to compliment him in best for last.
You did say he was undraftable.
For me, I didn't say. I said I wouldn't draft him because I don't want to be tied to his personality for a decade. But I also said he can play in this league.
No, you did. And to be fair, you were critical of Lamar Jackson. You didn't think Lamar Jackson was ready to play this year either.
At all. But I think all these guys.
He's not Baker, so he didn't get the
By the way,
attention that Baker
I didn't like
got.
Trubisky. He's been better than I thought. Mahomes, I didn't think would be this good. I got to be honest with you. And I said with Darnold, I said he's going to lead all rookie quarterbacks in interceptions. He's reckless. They've all been better than I thought in moments. All of them. All the young quarterbacks have.
Yeah, and you know, the quarterbacks like Josh Rosen and Josh Allen, I think, have been in tough situations this year. So I wouldn't even really judge them, you know, a comparison to say Baker or Lamar. And finally, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade faced each other on NBA court for the very last time last night. The Lakers beat the Heat in a exciting game, 108-105. And after the game, LeBron praised his good friend, saying he needed D-Wade in order for his own career to grow.
You know, what we got together is 2 championships. You know, we got a lot of memories. We got 2 gold medals. I mean, me personally, I would have been very successful in this league without D-Wade. But to accomplish what I really wanted to accomplish in this league, and that's winning at the highest level, I needed him. And that's why I made the jump. And then I appreciate more than I can express in words what he did for me when I went down to Miami.
I love Dwayne Wade and I love LeBron James. Love them both. Two of my favorite guys in the league ever.
They really were kind of the genesis of this buddy.
Yeah.
You know, the big three.
Guys used to hate each other.
And playing together.
Yeah.
They were really the start of that. But I think they don't get enough credit for the work that they did to make that particular team into a championship team. Me, you, and Chris Broussard were arguing about whether those Miami teams were ever all-time great teams.
Yes.
And I argued that the 2013 Miami Heat team could go down as an all-time great team. But they think of Miami as just this era where he just walked in kind of the way that KD did.
No.
And that wasn't the situation at all. And they lost their first year in an embarrassing fashion, and they had to work together and put those pieces together. And Wade was a big part of turning that team over to LeBron and teaching him what it takes to win a championship and be consistent.
Totally agree. Joy Taylor with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
Do you know the #1 defense in the NFL? We're in week 15 here. Since week 5 is